Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's NEDA Connections. My name is Chelsea Croningold, and I am NEDA's Communications Manager. And today I am joined with Veronica Graye and Maya Boyce. And Veronica Graye is an LA-based stylist specializing in branding and art direction. Graye has been working in the fashion industry for 13 years, transitioning to full-time styling in 2014. As the co-founder of Archives From, a campaign-driven clothing line that believes everyone is equal and should be treated and seen as such, Graye has been able to ensure each collection is inclusive to all gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, size, age, ability, and socioeconomic class. Everything is made in LA by artists making a living wage in good working conditions. And with Veronica, we have Maya. So Maya Boyce is the co-founder of the Cameron Boyce Foundation. She is a product development specialist at Archives and a recent high school graduate. She is also passionate about inclusion and intersectionality in the arts. So hello, both of you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi.
Hi, thanks for having
It's so
us.
good to be here.
Really great having you. I'm really excited for us to talk about Archives From and the nudes collection. So we'll get into it. I guess starting with you, Veronica, can you please tell us a little bit about who you are and your connection to the NEDA community?
Sure, you said it all in that intro. I'm a stylist, and but my connection to NEDA was during the initial lockdown or stay-at-home measures and lockdown. I started to hear lies about my body and myself, and I was anorexic for a very long time, and I feel recovered for the last decade. And I thought if I was feeling that, then people who were at different levels in their recovery must really be suffering when all of that control is taken from us. So I reached out to NEDA and thought this would be a really nice place to put our nudes.
And we're so grateful for that. And it is true that this pandemic, it has been an added trigger for a lot of people who've found themselves in recovery for some time or are currently struggling. And it's definitely been an added challenge. So, well, thank you for joining us and for collaborating. And Maya, how about you?
It's mostly just, supporting Veronica, obviously, but also I'm just excited to collaborate with an important organization such as NEDA. I think this is something that seems to be under talked about. So just to bring a little bit of attention from our end of the world to the organization feels really good for me.
Yeah, and thank you for that. And so, Veronica, why was it so important for you to create the nudes collection? And maybe you could talk about that collection a little bit more in detail.
Yeah, the nudes collection has been, it was created last year, and it's something that I was so proud of that I just kind of held on to, and I didn't know when to release it or where. And I don't know, it's just that fear, right, of putting something you're so proud of out into the world. And I think I have that with work, with someone's great red carpet look, and you just never know how it'll be received. And I am the subject of much criticism. So, so with these, it was so special, and I think it's a tale that's been told so long, where ballerinas had to dye their ballet shoes and leotards because there wasn't a color that matched their nude. And then obviously with Fenty, Rihanna's paved the way, but she's only been able to pave that way because it hasn't been done before. And how sad that it hasn't been done before. And so obviously all of these undergarments have been showcasing people's different nudes, but as the archives, we literally wear our message on our sleeves. And I just thought how beautiful to just showcase your nude out in the public. And you don't have to wear your nude, but just to show that we're genuinely all human. We come in nude, we leave nude, and I don't have the right to judge anyone. None of us do. So for me, I just be so proud of that nude you're in. And obviously we would love to have the 50 colors that Rihanna's so good at, but eventually maybe it won't be there. But to at least show that we just are 100% human, clearly, in any nude you're in.
Right. Being human and being nude is not one look, just right. So it's
Yeah.
a whole spectrum, and that's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. And Maya, why is inclusion and intersectionality in the arts so beneficial to our society?
Um, I mean, I think we all know the saying, life imitates art, vice versa.
Hmm.
And sorry, my dog is barking in the background. I don't know if you can hear that. Um, it's just, I think the fashion industry specifically is so ingrained in our everyday lives,
Hmm.
because everyone is impacted by the fashion industry literally every day. We're all putting on clothes every single day. Um, and you would think that this industry would be more accurate in what their depiction of life looks like. Because we're taught as kids, there's no right way to look. We all know that people come in different shapes and sizes and colors. And the fashion industry, unfortunately, tends to favor tall, thin, white people. And of course, obviously, there's nothing wrong with being tall or thin or white. It's just, the exclusion of literally everyone else.
Right.
Um, uh, Short people, fat people, people of color, transgender people, gender nonconforming people, whatever, are constantly being left out of the art of fashion. So I don't know, can you even call it art at that point if it's not, imitating life? That's how I think about it. And I think people who are trying to normalize that, no one is required to fit a mold of what society tells you to look like. And I'm not saying anything that people have been saying for years. I'm saying no groundbreaking ideas. It's just, you know, if you have not even empathy, but just like a general understanding of how the world works, you should be upset about the fact that some people have been led to believe that they look incorrect. That's horrible. And it's not true. No one looks incorrect. They just haven't seen themselves represented enough in art.
Absolutely. And as you're saying, like this is not revolutionary. Like we've known
No.
this, and yet, Veronica to bring in Rihanna and Fenty, and it's like, why is this so new, right? Why I mean, it's great that she's doing this, but it's unfortunate that she has to be the first one
Yeah.
to pave the way this late in the game.
It should
And
have
I
been
think
done years ago.
totally. And I think
Yeah.
it's really timely right now as we're, as Black Lives Matter and we're talking more about people of color and really that representation across the board. And so I'm curious to hear from both of you, how are you protecting your mental health and your recovery or your body image, self-care, things like that during this current climate with COVID? As we said, that can be especially tricky for somebody that's had an eating disorder experience or just even anybody. COVID's been an extra challenge. And also the Black Lives Matter protests and riots and conversations that have been having right now. Whoever wants to
Veronica.
start.
I, well,
It's a loaded question, I know.
it is, no, but I love the question so much. I think mental health is something we ignore so often, which I, there's so much to comment on.
Hmm.
Protecting myself, I've been sheltering in place because I have a 7-year-old and a husband who's a healthcare worker. So we just have no choice. Plus, we're social pariahs because he's a healthcare worker. um, but mentally, all we can do is what works best for us. And for me, those are very different things for other people.
Hmm.
I love working and I really dig in. So it's been nice to give all this attention to archives, which I hadn't been able to do before because I had a full-time job with 15 clients as a stylist. And with the industry shutting down, I've truly been able to give it the love that it needs. And I'm so grateful that has been great mental health for me. With the riots and Black Lives Matters, I mean, yes, like we said, it, the fact that it's happening, thank God. And maybe we don't look at 2020 as a lost year, but the year that everything changed. and the
Hmm.
year that shaped our future from here on out. And that's our hope. And archives, I use it as such a place to voice everything and to share. And voting is the next thing that we've been talking about so much on archives. And I mean, Maya's freshly 18 and gets to vote this year. And I think that's so special. And what a year to do it. So.
Hmm.
Definitely.
That's beautifully said. How about you, Maya?
I mean, mostly simple stuff. I'm trying to stay active. I'm trying to make sure I go outside and get sunlight because sometimes you just kind of forget about how important that is. Um,
Hmm.
I'm using copious amounts of hand sanitizer. Um, and I mean, with my mental health, it's more just making sure that I'm taking the time to just literally take care of myself, all the basic needs, and making sure to make my bed and make sure I eat breakfast and, the simple stuff that sometimes just kind of goes over your head. Um, and then the Black Lives Matter movement and just everything happening in the world. I'm signing petitions like crazy, which I think we all should be doing. Every single one I see, I like when they give you the option to just click a bunch at one time and
Uh-huh.
just go click, 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 click. Um, and also just trying my best to educate myself. Um, you know, I have to recognize how much privilege I have just like being who I am. I am Black, but I'm very white passing, and I have a lot of privileges that, I need to take into account and use to help others, which is one of the reasons I was so excited to work with NEDA. Yeah, it's just making sure that I'm aware of my place in this world and what I can do to help, and making sure that I'm learning as much as I can, so I'm not just, talking out of my butt, basically.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's great. And thank you both. I mean, you really are doing amazing things. And I guess on a closing note, anything else you'd like to add, including where people can find you and your work on social media? So Maya, we can start with you if you'd like.
My Instagram is maya.elan, which is my middle name, Elan. And my Twitter is Maya Boyce _. You can also hop over to the Cameron Boyce Foundation website. It's the CameronBoyceFoundation.org. And please check out Archives. Our Instagram is the Archives from. 10% of the profits for these shirts are actually going to NEDA, so maybe consider picking up a shirt, and that's it.
Yeah, shop for a cause. And we're grateful for that. And how about you, Veronica?
Yeah, yeah. The archives from, and our website is archivesfrom.com without the. And so 10% goes to NEDA, and also 10% goes to Color of Change, which I think we
Mm.
can't ignore how important that is at the moment. And hope that this is just the beginning of this collection. We have so many other things in store. So the whole collection, 10%, will continually go to NEDA and Color of Change. I think it's important to stress our price point, and that's because I think socioeconomic class is one of the things that gets knocked down when we talk about inclusivity so often.
Mm.
And it's a $48 shirt that gives us no profit. It's genuinely like we want everything that we have to be accessible to everyone. So we've made it as low as we can to be able to give. And I just think that's a conversation that never happens in the fashion industry. And I think it's something that we need to discuss at a later time. But archivesfrom.com.
Really important. I'm glad you brought that up. So thank you. Well, thank you both so much for joining me today. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope everyone enjoyed learning more about inclusivity in fashion and in the arts. And they check out Archives From and the Cameron Boyce Foundation. So thank you, everyone who's watching at home, and we'll see you next time on NEDA Connections. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.